Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. So today, I just want to say thank you so much for your interest in the tow truck. The video, it's doing well. There's two of them on there. Remember, the one that is available. I tried to delete the other truck so you can't find it anymore. Like if I go to creations and I look at development items, it's still there. I don't know if I can delete this. I'm gonna try this crane truck, and then what I'll do, or in the next couple of days, I'll take these other vehicles and I'll make them like this, so you can just use them in your game. Everything will be perfect. So somebody asked me how to make it so that way you can click on the vehicle and it will teleport onto the back of the truck. So I guess there's a couple of ways we can do this. So if you play some other games, usually what they'll do is they'll have a team for certain players, a team for the police, a team for the civilians, a team for like the highway people. And that's a good way of doing things, because what you can do is, for example, in this here, oh yeah, it's got the lock script on it. Let's say even in the tire, maybe that's a good example here. Inside the tire, we can go insert object. Where we go, insert object. Let's say we inserted a click detector. Now in the properties of the click detector, is it the click detector or is it the prompt? One of them we can limit. To the team. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've never actually done the team setup, but I think there's a way to do it so you can set it up so only people on a certain team can do it. But okay, so this is going to get kind of a little bit complicated. So what I'm going to do here is we'll build it, and then I'll package it, and I'll put it on Studio or on the website. So you can just test this out in Studio and modify it to however you want. So for me, what we will need to do is we need to allow players to communicate with each other. All right? Because how I handle vehicles in my games is this vehicle would belong to one player and this vehicle would belong to another player. So in order to take this vehicle and teleport it here, you need to get permission from the player that owns the vehicle. The easiest way to do that is to create an interface. With some buttons. So we go insert object. No, we want a frame. All right. Yeah, I guess I'm sort of doing this on the fly, so I'm just starting to think about what would be the best way. So there's a couple of things that we need to do first. We need to set up the actual game. We'll get into this, but we need to set up the actual game. So let's focus on that real quickly here. So the first thing we need to do is we need a leader stats script. So in the server script service, we want to insert an object, insert a script. All right, and this is going to be our leader stats script. So what we want to do is we want to say script. No, we want to say game dot players dot player added, which is a function. So every time a player joins the game, it's going to fire a server. We're going to say connect function, and we will say player. I think we need to do that. Okay, and then what we want to do is in there we want to say instance dot new. We want to say folder. Instance dot new Can we make a folder? Alright, Jeepers. Hold on a second. I'll have to consult the, I'll have to look at an actual game for this. I've only ever made a leader script a couple of times, so I just haven't committed it to memory. Let's see. We could go into Winter Assault. That'll work. Seems to be loading up pretty quickly. Just waiting for it to load here. Just waiting for it to load. Okay, and then in the server script service, we have our leaderboard here. Oh, we have to name it leader stats. And to make the folder, it has to be in quotes. Alright, so this is what we need here, right here. So the leader stats is just the folder that we're creating. And then we can say local. Do we need to create a local for each variable as well? We need to, yes. Okay, all right. So that is what we need to do here. Then we'll say local cache equals instance dot new, and then this is going to be a string value. There we go. Instance.new string value, and then we're going to say cache dot parent equals leader stats, and we're going to say cache dot name equals monies. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be anything. We can just do that. Just lowercase cache. It only matters later on when we're writing our code and we're checking that when we're trying to give money to the player. We're going to need this value here. But we'll take a look at that, okay? So then we can duplicate this. And let's say we instead of cash, we want one to be XP. And then we just have to change the name here. And then this will be XP like that. So now let's see, it should create the folder, and we should have two values on the player, cash and XP. Perfect. And then as you saw in the leaderboard there, then it created this little leaderboard here, and we have our cash and XP. Now they don't have any values because we haven't given them any values. So you could set the values. I don't know. For me, it's kind of like, let's do a mission and then give the player the values that way. So the next thing that we also need to do is we need to add a P call, which basically is going to check to make sure that the values are the values. That's really, really important. So this is, we'll just take one. We'll just take one, and then that way I can explain it and explain how it works. Okay. So this is a P call. All it does is it checks. It's a function that checks to make sure the parameters have succeeded, and if the parameters have succeeded, it will commit whatever we tell it to do. So the other thing, you see how it's saying my data store. So what we also need to do is we need to connect to a data store, which we can't do because the game right now is not published. We will worry about that in just a minute. So we need to say local data store service equals game get service data store service, and then we need to say my data store, and then we want to name it. In this case, I'll just name it tow truck. Tow truck adventure. Okay, now you're going to change this to whatever the name of your game is, and then I would do something like that, right? So then here where we are in our P call. So we need to say local data, which we're saying, okay, what is data? Well, if it succeeds, this is the if, this is what's going to happen if it succeeds. Then cache, which is the variable we haven't defined yet, would actually have to be this, it would have to be capital. Cache.value equals data. So what that means is it's going to go to our data store, it's going to find this variable for this player, and it's going to retrieve that value, and then it's going to load that value into this string value, basically. Okay, so that's what you're doing, is it's going to the server and it's saying, okay, what is this number? Okay, this is what the number is, and that does that when the player joins the game. So this one here, right, if it succeeds, it creates the value, and then we also need one for the experience. So what I would do is I would just say data B. It's really that simple, data B, and then we change this from cache to XP, and then here we just need to change this from cache to XP. On this it says data B is never initialized or assigned. Oh, because right here, there we go. Data B equals my data store get async. So what we're doing is we're saying get the value and sync it to the number. When we save from the game to the server, we say set async. We'll go over that. All right. So that's basically that. These are really important. Anytime you add numbers that you want to save, you want to have this. And that way you ensure that the player has the right stats and so on and so forth. Okay, so really simple. So what we've done is we created a data store. Now, it's not going to work. If we play, it's going to say can't connect to the data store, right? Because I haven't published this game. But we need to set up this. All right? Because the player is going to have to pay monies in order to get their car towed. So we need to have a way to trade money from one player to another. And then we also want to give experience to the tow truck driver, so that way he can, the player can advance, and they're going to want to continue to play as on that team or whatever, right? We have to give them some sort of a reward. So that's basically that. So what the leader stat script is, creating variables so we can give increase or decrease or manipulate those variables for the player and allow them to spend those rewards into the game, right? That's what we're doing. We created the game. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Okay, so now the next step is, like I said, we need to create a way for the players to request the tow system. Okay? So, step number 1, create the leaderboard script. I'll just name this leaderboard. Right, leader stats. The first thing we do is we create the leader stats script. Now, I suppose in here, we could set up it on the server somewhere a leaderboard, and then every time the player joins, you could sync their values to that leaderboard and sort it. I'll go through that as well. Maybe we'll add that to here. So this is going to be like a couple of videos, maybe 2 or 3 videos to get through this, and then I'll put the package on there. All right. So we have our leaderboard, we have money, and we have experience, and then we have a way of retrieving those values. Right now, their values are going to be 0. And the next error that I'm getting is from the spawn code. So what we need is we just need a couple of remote events in the replicated storage. That's going to allow the player to click on a button and do what we want it to do. Okay? So what we need, this is going to be our tow. Our touring area, T-O-W-I-N-G. This is our towing interface. Okay, And so this is going to have to go into the replicated storage. And what is it going to have in here? What it's going to have in here is we need to insert object. We want to insert a it can either be an image button. In this case, it's just going to be a text button. And let's change the background color to green. And for example, this is just going to be toe. Okay, this text button name is going to be toe. So we need a couple of things. We need to right click. We need to insert. We need a local script, right? As we always do. We also need to go insert. Do we need? Let's see. I don't think we need to bind this interface to the player. So let's just try one thing. Okay, so we'll say local button equals script.parent.frame.toe. All right, and we will say toe. It will say button dot mouse button one down connect function. And in this case, we can say player here. I don't think we need to. And then we'll say, what do we want it to do? So in the replicated storage, we're going to insert an object, remote event. And we're just going to say tow car. Okay, and then here we can say local move car equals yeah, we could say game. Now, what Roblox recommends is we get the replicated storage like this. We say game, get service, and then in here we say replicated storage. So then we say move car equals rs dot tow car. Now, why is that? It's because they say that if they ever change the name of the replicated storage to something else, and you have it in your code, game.replicated storage.remote event, that at some point could cease to function and it could cause you problems with your code. So long as you tell the game to get the service replicated storage, even if they change the name from replicated storage to something else, it will still recall it as replicated storage. So in the event that it ever changes its name, it's not going to break your code. Your code will still function this way. All right, that's my understanding of that. So now what we need to say is we need to say move car, and then we want to say fire server. Let's see. Let's try this. Fire server tow. And now in the ambulance script, you know, I don't actually think we need, I think we can just leave this variable blank. And then what we can do here in this script, we'll rename this from ambulance to the tow car script, okay? So the replicated storage, right? We get the game service, replicated storage. So the spawn car event, this is going to be the tow event. And then we're going to change this to tow event, all right? So replicated storage dot tow car, okay? And then we have the delete car event, which we're probably not going to use. But anyways, just kind of bear with me for a little bit. We're going to be changing the code around a little bit. But basically, this is our spawn code. If you press a button on an interface, it will spawn the vehicle into the game. We're going to use that. But right now, I just want to show how we're going to move the car from point A to point B. And that's all this is. So then what we need to do, so we don't need the... There, I'll tell you what. I'm going to duplicate this. And this is going to be the spawn car. And that way we can keep it. Yeah, okay, good. Good. Okay, so we don't need this. Do we need the delete car? We probably do, actually. So I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to say... delete car tow, and replicate storage, and this is going to be delete car tow. Okay, perfect. So what it's going to do is it is going to car equals. Now, again, so how I track the game is we need to get the name of the player. We need to get the name of the player, okay? So that's what I mean. We're going to be sort of bouncing around a little bit, but we need to get the name of the player. So let's just turn this off for a moment. The tow truck driver needs to find this car, okay? And if the car is going to be named somebody else's name and the car. So we need to tell the code, hey, find this vehicle. So how do we find this vehicle? So there's one of two ways to do that. We can either define what the vehicle is, find it in the replicated storage, and respawn it on the back of here, or we need to give the player a button which they can press, which will then move the vehicle from here to here. All right? And in order to lock that function out so not any player can do it, we'll just add a button to the interface that we have with the cars. So let me just kind of show you if I can. So all these vehicles have interfaces. Okay, we saw the interface with the tow truck. This car, all the vehicles I build, I'll put this car on there as well, just a basic coupe. It has an interface here, you can unlock it. And it doesn't, obviously the code is, I moved something. So, the trunk. All right, let's see if it works now. All right, so in the interface, maybe that's a better way of doing it. So we can activate it like this. So let's say the car is broken down. On this interface, we'll have a button that says tow car. And then what that'll do is that will make a proximity prompt on the car visible. That's the easiest way to do that. Yes. So then we're going to get rid of this towing interface because we don't need it anymore. And then what we'll do is inside the vehicle somewhere, maybe here in the front. Yes, we'll go insert object. We need a proximity prompt. Okay, and then what we also need is code. So in the proximity prompt, we're going to go insert object a script, which will allow us to code the button. We're going to make this button called tow. Okay, and then we will say local button equals script.parent. All right, we'll say button dot triggered, trigger ended, sure, connect function. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the name of the player because we're going to need it. Oh my goodness, to give rewards. This keyboard is really, I can't wait to just replace it all. This computer is going to be obsolete, officially obsolete in October. Because it can't upgrade to Windows 11, it'll be officially obsolete. And it's going to be gonzoed by then. Gonzoed! Okay. So we have the button. Now what do we need the button to do? Well, we have we have this here, this code. So what we can do is I guess we could still use the remote events. We'll still use the remote events. That'll work. Let's see. Now we don't need to get the name of the car because what we can do is we can say script.parent.parent.parent.parent. That is perfect. Okay, let me just restart the music. Yeah, that is perfect. So that eliminates, oh, that's good. That eliminates a lot of effort, okay? So what do we want the script to do? So when we activate the button, we want to move the vehicle from here to here. So now what we need to do on the truck is we just need to take one of these parts here and we need to go move. We'll duplicate that because we need a position, right? We need a position. Ideally, like that. That's all we need. That's it. So we can do that. and we can do that, right? And it can be up a little bit. And then what we'll do, it's already welded. So we'll say transparency, we'll make it invisible. And this one here is going to be, we'll just call it toe part. So here we go. Okay, in order for the tow truck to work, it needs to be named the player's name. All right. We can get the player's name from the player activating the prompt. So we can say, you see how we have this variable X, Y, and Z, which is the position for the car. We can use this tow part that we just created. We can get the X, Y, Z of that. And that's gonna tell the code to teleport this car to the back of the truck. Yes, that's gonna work, hopefully. So now I'm just thinking about what we want to do. So we need to find the car. So we need to say a car equals, and do I need to say local on that? Local car, okay. Car equals script parent. The parent. Let me see. Yes. So then we can say if car, then, just like in here, then what we need to do is we need to get the local X, Y, and Z for the car. So we need to say variable X equals, now this truck is going to be named, let me just find out what it names. I think it's car, is it? Where are we here? All right, player.name car. So that's what we're going to be looking for here. So we need to do that. And then on the tow truck, we need to find this position here, which is going to be in so car .misc .bed.towpart .bed.tow.towpart. Say an incomplete statement. Oh, maybe this has to be in like that. Yeah. Okay. Has to be like that. Oh boy. Okay, so then we need to say we have that. So now what we need to do is we need to take that car and we need to move it so if the car, then we need to say it's going to clone it to that position. So let's see if it's going to do that. So we'll copy this and we're going to do this and then that should be that. And then what we need to do is we need to delete the other car. So let's just try that first. I should be able to just activate the prompt and then it should just teleport it on. It'll clone it and the clone will be on the back of the tow truck. Oh, it just required line of sight probably on the... Okay, so what we need to do is we need to say game dot workspace, and we need to say find first child. Like that. MISC? Oh, because you see it has the S in there? That's why. That's why it's really important to know what you're naming your vehicles, right? Interesting. Something happened. Whew. Something happened. Game.workspace. Name, we'll just name it junk. It'll rename it. Let's see, parent.game. I wonder why it didn't seem to... It's moving it, but let's see. I wonder if it's because it's anchored. Hold on a second, let's see. All right, well, it doesn't seem to be... It's cloning it, but it doesn't seem to be teleporting it. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't say position X, position Y, position Z, right? See? Tool part dot, we need this part here, which is not in there. So that's why it doesn't know where. I'm just telling it to go to tool part. So X, this will be position Y, and this will be position Z. There, now it should teleport it to the back of the truck here. Yeah, did you see? So now, why did it follow through? That's in the spawn car, right? That's not... I wonder if maybe I should delete it and then yeah, I think instead of cloning it, okay, so instead of cloning it, we will, let's see if we can just do this. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Success. Now it's on the back of the tow truck. And then, if I say tow controls, and I tell it to weld, now the car is welded onto the back of the tow truck. Hey, that was really easy peasy and simple. I thought it was actually going to be a little bit harder than that. So then we just need to say unlock, unlock, and we get in the tow truck. And away we go. Except there appears to be a problem. Oh, I think I said attached. Did I say attached instead of weld? I'm gonna fix up this truck a little bit as well. Okay, that's cool. Oh yeah, see, it welds it on there like that. So I wonder, well, this is kind of a problem. Oh boy. All right, so teleported nicely. Should be welded. Now let me check. No idea where it welds to. There we go. It's welded to there. So the car is welded. But it doesn't, you see, it doesn't like the mass of the car. That's the A chassis thing. That's the A chassis thing. So I might need to tweak the tow truck a little bit. Yeah, likely I'll need to tweak the tow truck a little bit to handle the weight of the car. So what that means is, if we go to the suspension, I wonder if we crank this up, the dampening a little bit. I wonder if that'll help. And we'll make this 15 as well. We could go to 20. So that's kind of the one way of doing it. The other way we can do it, let's see here. once it moves, I keep activating the button, I think. Alright, so as you can see, there's a little bit here. Hold duration 1 second. There we go. I think that's what the problem was. And then we should always turn the button off, right? Yeah, there we go. That makes more sense. Because when I shift, so let's do that. So let's hold duration, and then when we activate the prompt, we will say script, then we'll say button dot enabled equals false. All right. So the vehicle isn't fully initialized until you get in the vehicle and start to drive it. So we're assuming that and it's a little different. So if I pick the car up onto here and then I weld it and then I bring it onto the vehicle, it'll handle the physics of the vehicle a little different versus dropping it onto the vehicle and trying to drive away. And that'll have to do with the weight of the cars and all that, blah, blah, blah. There's a little bit to it. So we can do that. We can say tow controls, weld. Yeah, but the tow truck doesn't like the... I don't know what's going on here. Oh, the car's not even welded. Alright, let's try this one more time. And let's just see what's going on here. So when it creates the weld... Oh, I gotta go through this. Is it, where's the functions? What? Miscellaneous, I think. It's called weld. The name of the weld is called weld. Alright, so let's just see what happens here. Let's just see what happens. So we get in our tow truck, we come over here. Alright, so in the truck, right, that was the weld I was thinking it was, but I don't know what, let's see. I wonder if I have to click on the vehicle. Let me see here. If I say tow controls, and I say weld, and then I click on the vehicle. Yeah, see, that's what's happening right now. So if I attach the whole, oh, I can't even click on it. What's going on here? Attach. Yeah, there we go. So you see I have the rope attached to the car. Should be the same thing. The car should be welded, but I just don't see that it's welded. It appears to be. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so it looks like we have to... Okay, so there's two things that we can do here. The front tires are turning. That's awesome. So what did I have to do there? I'm just trying to figure out the weld that... Let's try that again. I think I had to click on the car after it's on there to be welded. Let's see if that's the case. So, car is on there. Now let's see if it's in there. No, but if I attach it like that, and then I say weld, yes, that's what we got to do. So first you have to attach it with the rope, and then you have to, and then it welds. Okay, so that's how now that we know that, that's how the code is written. That's how the code works. So there you go. So what I'll do is that's going to do it for today's video. What, 47 minutes? Yeah, I don't have much more time here today. All right, let's save this to file. So what do we do in today's video? We set up some code. We set up some code and we figured out how to teleport the vehicle. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we are going to lock this proximity prompt out with the interface that comes with the car. And that way only the player in the car can activate the prompt when the vehicle needs to be towed. What we can also do is, now that we have this set up, we can have junk cars on the map that spawn, and the driver can drive to the junk cars, collect them, and then they can come back to the garage, drop them off where they can get money and all that sort of stuff. And that is what we will do in the next video. In part 2, we will give the player money and we will enhance our tow truck game. So I want to say thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. You all are awesome. Again, I hope I was able to explain this. The names of the vehicles are going to make sense here. In the next video, we're going to add a button that allows us to spawn vehicles into the map. And then I'll go over that, tracking them and all that sort of stuff, right? And this one here, I'm going to change into a rotator. And I'll upload that. So that way we'll package all this together. It'll be one tow truck game, and then we'll have the individual models that you can play around with and use. Yeah, so in order to get the vehicle to move onto the back or to move to any position, you need a part. So you can get the X, Y, Z of that position. And that's it. Once you have the X, Y, and Z of the position, you just say move to X, Y, and Z. And then the vehicle will move from here to there. From there, we then need to weld the vehicle to this plate. So what I could do is in the code here, where it moves it to there, I could have it create a weld between the vehicle and the plate. So it moves and it's welded. Then we can just hop in the truck and go. Let's just try that real quickly. And that will be the end of this one. I'll restart the music here. Let's just try that real quick. So what we then wanted to do is we would have to say the button is enabled false. So if we told it the code to wait, let's say even 10 seconds, and then we said even just script.parent parent say drive seat, and we could just say no, we could say local instance.new what's going on here? Oh, I need to name the weld. We need to say local connect equals instance dot new, and we will say weld constraint, and the weld constraint is going to be in script parent okay dot drive seat. No, better yet, it's going to be in this here, in the tow part. Yes, that's better. Because we want the tow truck driver to be able to get rid of the weld, right? So we do that. And this is where we want it to be, okay? And then the weld, when you create a weld like this, I think you just need two, what am I trying to say? Let's look at a weld. Let's look at the properties of the weld. You just need part 0 and part 1. You don't have to do invert or whatever. Yeah, it's a little different because you're just creating the weld. You're not creating the weld and whatever. So we need to say part. We need to say connect dot part 1, and we need to say connect dot part 0. So this equals script dot parent to parent to parent to parent. Okay, dot drive seat. Part 0 is going to be yeah, pretty much. Wow, that's cool. It actually gave me the right one. And that's it. So now let's try that out, and there should be a weld. Oh, we didn't name it. We should name it. And that way it'll be easier for us to find later on when we want to delete it. We can say connect dot name equals towing weld. Yes, that's actually kind of perfect. So let's see if that works. So we'll do that. There we go. And then if we go to workspace and we look at the coupe and we just in the drive seat, it's not there yet. Should be there by now, but it is not. Oh, or it'll be in miscellaneous bed tow part. There we go, towing weld. Hey, so then if we activate this and we unlock it, oh, there we go. Just like that. Excellent. And now, because we can find the weld on the tow truck, what I'll need to do now is I'll need to add some more buttons on the tow truck. I'll just tell it to release that weld, and then we can roll the car off. And that's it. And then I'll make a part somewhere on the map that we can bring the car to. And what it will do is it will give value. It'll just give money to the tow truck player for the car. Whatever the value is. It'll give them like $100, 1,000, experience, whatever. But that, of course, is going to be in the next video. So thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. That is going to do it for part 1 of our tow truck game or mini game. Like I say, if you're building a game that is like a city, for example, you want to have mini games within the game. So this, what we're building right now, a tow truck game, could be part of your game. Quests, whatever you want to call it. We do one for taxis, we do one for buses, we do one for trains, whatever. The possibilities are endless, but this just sort of enhances playtime in your experience. Yes. So once again, I hope this has sort of given you some ideas, and now you know how to make this operation work. Like I say, I'm going to edit this, and what I'll do is I'll upload this to Roblox. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to replace this one here, right? So what I'm going to need to do is I might need to go through and delete these so they're no longer available and just re-upload them properly without errors and bugs. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next one.